against Limerick, I was like, they're going to go all the way again back into the Super 8s. I'm not sure, but...
I think we're going to go all the way through to the Super 8.
I tell you what, you're passionate fans. You're passionate fans.
You're saying that in a patronising little
kind of,
on the head
yeah.
kind of
I think in Galway we were a bit more chilled out about things. The Mayo people
you just don't care. You just don't support your teams.
No, we've a lot of other stuff going on. We've hurling, Galway United.
You barely support the hurlers.
The arts.
You definitely don't support Galway United.
No, but those of us who do, we were more around.
It's not a sporting town.
No, it's not.
You could learn some lessons from the die-hard nature of the Mayo support, the way they will travel the length and breadth of the country to get behind their team, to get behind their people.
I'm not sure are they favourable lessons, but as a great man once said to me, the only culture in Galway is binge drinking. And there is actually an element of truth to that.
The graveyard of ambition, Johnny.
The graveyard of ambition. I spent last weekend there, got a bit of Galway United in, got a bit of the hurling in, and in fairness, what a city like it is. It's very hard.
The sun was out.
Sun was out.
Guns
beautiful.
Were out.
Kilkenny came down, enjoyed themselves. They're hard to listen to as well. Their fans, I have to say, I was among some of them at the match. They're fairly rabid about things as well. But Galway hurling is in a
Mayo fans slated. Kilkenny fans
in a very chilled out place.
Who were Galway United playing last week?
Lost to Drogheda.
Drogheda United supporters, what were they like?
All 7. Yeah, they were they were actually mad as well. But no, what a great weekend it was in Galway. And Pearse Stadium the pitch was in bad nick, but it was a great vibe. It was terrible. It was terrible. Yeah.
You took the corporate dollar. You ruined your pitch because, well, ultimately,
I've a massive
footballers.
Well, I've a massive gripe with whoever it was that decided not to develop Tuam Stadium and to develop Pearse Stadium, because Tuam needed development. It really needed help. It's one of those kind of towns that time has forgotten, of which there are so many in Northern Ireland. It lost its train station. It lost its Gaelic grounds in effect, and
the Saw Doctors' best days are behind them.
The Saw Doctors, it lost the Saw Doctors really. It lost a lot of things, and it could have done with a bit of investment. Salt Hill didn't need it, but anyway, that's by the by. But the pitch was in no state for hurling on Sunday. All right.
Well, listen, you're in good form, which is good to hear.
Yeah.
Galway supporters are losing the run of themselves. They just about scraped past the Mayo team, shorn of 5 or 6 of the best players of their generation.
I don't think we're losing the run of ourselves.
No, I think you are. You're getting a little bit cocky. I don't like it.
Yeah, I think there's still a huge resentment in Galway towards our mass defence style of football. It'll be interesting against Sligo if we open up a little bit. And may I give a mention to Conor Sanfey, who's getting married tomorrow, my former flatmate. He's a good St. Jude's man.
Where's he getting married?
He's getting married in Foxrock Church. I'm the groomsman.
Wow.
I'm going to meet the Dam side for the first time. Good Foxrock clan.
They've let you be part of the wedding party.
I don't really know much about it. Conor drafted me in as a late kind of groomsman. I think he felt sorry for me.
Well, I think we've got a good insight into your last weekend and this weekend, and the nation now feels they know Johnny Ward.
Yeah.
I'm glad you turned down our rival show to come in here tonight.
I did, yeah.
You'd finally decided, enough of that crap. Let's go with these boys.
He asked me first.
Okay. Delighted to have Joey Carberry coming to Munster. Like Redden, Cronin, Keighley before him, he can't get a game at his home province in his chosen position and is moving to another to find a chance. Great for Munster. Get over it, says Dan in Cork. 53106 is the text number. You can, of course, follow us on all our social channels. We are live right now, can you believe it, on facebook.com/offtheball, youtube.com/offtheball, and on @offtheball on Twitter, if you want to get in touch. Let us know what you think about Joey Carberry or about Zinedine Zidane bowing out, and strange feeling that everyone sort of wants Zidane to just leave it now. Don't come back. Don't go anywhere else. Don't ruin it by taking the Paris Saint-Germain job in a couple of years.
It's a bit like the Simpsons should have, ended after 9 instead of just dragging on and on. But where will Zizou go now? This is going to be fascinating.
France.
What in the French job, yeah.
The French job.
Which should be available in 2 months.
Can you go from, the Real Madrid day-to-day to the kind of part-time existence of being an international manager and do it? He's a very young coach.
Yeah, it's a strange reaction in that the 2.5 years he's done something totally unprecedented, yet for some strange reason doesn't seem to be getting the level of credit.
That's because your rivals are Barcelona and they've just romped the league.
Which he made a very interesting statement, which we'll get into with John Giles and with Graham, about how that really did seem to affect him, that he actually has almost admitted that I sort of feel I've taken this group as far as I can. Look at how far off the pace we were during the league. Look at the horror defeat we suffered to Leganes in the Copa del Rey. This is a team that's just about scraping by right now, and I don't really fancy the challenge of getting them back to the top.
It's the way those two clubs operate, though. Valverde could easily get sacked by Barcelona in the next few weeks as well, because Madrid won a 13th European Cup. So unless a treble is won by either club, they look at what the other team has done rather than concentrating on their own success.
So what are we starting with? Zidane or Carberry?
We have to start with Carberry, Tom.
Okay,
well, Joey Carberry says he endured sleepless nights, Nathan, before deciding to leave Leinster to join the rivals Munster. The 22-year-old, who is set to sign a 2-year contract with the Reds, insists he's opted to move purely for rugby reasons. Carberry wants regular game time at out half ahead of next year's World Cup. He's excited to get that opportunity at Munster. Head coach Joe Schmidt feels getting experience playing each week at 10 can help him develop, and Schmidt also insists he left that decision about the move entirely up to the player.
Very new news to me, so I haven't really had too much time to digest it personally, but it's a decision that Joey's taken a bit of time over, and certainly while it may have been mentioned, it doesn't seem to have affected his performances too much. I think he's played really well, and I don't understand why Leinster would be desperately keen to hang on to him, and why Munster would feel that it's a huge bonus for them. The initial conversation with Leo, with myself and David Nusifora was not the best timing for any of us. It certainly wasn't where I wanted to be at the time, but I had a job to do, and all we asked was, could we ask, is there any interest for Ross or for Joey to go up to Ulster, because Ulster were looking at the time at a foreign option. They needed to know by midday the following day, and so we had to see if there was any chance at all that one of our local number 10s were interested. And if there was no interest, then it was probably a different story. But there was a bit of interest from Joey at the time, and then he mulled that over, and I think he got an approach from Munster in the interim, and it kind of digressed then into a different conversation.
News to me, says Joe Schmidt. News to me.
Diplomatic genius, isn't it?
I just met him for a coffee a couple of weeks ago. We had a quiet conversation, and I just let him go on his way. And Munster, really? Wow. Fascinating.
Very interesting as well. It wasn't on that clip there, but I was watching the press conference earlier. Schmidt said the meeting that took place in Milltown between the two, where they had the cup of coffee, was at Joey Carberry's request and not at his. Very pointed.
In Wild and Green in Milltown, for anybody who frequents South Dublin, it's pretty much smack bang in the heartland of South Dublin.
Clandestine it wasn't.
You could not go in there and not be recognised by somebody. So obviously they were spotted straight away, and everybody knew that there was now a conversation going on, because Schmidt, I'd say, would love to have gone into that conversation today and said, listen, I had nothing to do with this, rather than just, I'm very surprised that he's going to Munster. What's wrong with Connacht for Carberry? Something seriously wrong with the IRFU and their attitude from Connemara, man. Why not Connacht?
He'd be wasted at Connacht.
Does he have potential to become...
Because Connacht aren't playing in the Champions Cup. Carberry's a Champions Cup level player. I'm not sure if Munster is the right move, just purely from a playing style point of view, because Carberry's a running 10. I think he'll have to improve standing beside Conor Murray, so for the RFU that makes sense. But Carberry will be a big star at Connacht, and we'll be having the argument in a year's time, why is Carberry not moving to one of the other provinces?
Has he the potential to become like a proper world-class out-half?
Well, now he's going to be given the opportunity. It's all on Joey Carberry now.
What are his limitations? What are his what's negative about it?
Still has to improve his place kicking, which he's not only going to get experience at doing that if he's kicking, which he would be regularly at Munster if he's playing regularly.
He needs to go and prove that he can play a 20-game club season and deliver week in, week out. I'm sure there's huge frustration at Leinster, because they have the prime example of this happening already, of Jordy Murphy agreeing to go to Ulster, and everyone's sort of thinking this is the right thing for Ireland, the right thing for Jordy Murphy. And then Jamie Heaslip retires, Sean O'Brien is out for the season, Josh van der Fleer's out for the season, and suddenly Jordy Murphy is pretty much first choice in that back row, and now he's leaving. And with Carberry's situation and the back line, with Easton Asewa gone, like a long-term injury to Johnny Sexton or to Rob Kearney, which is eminently possible, and suddenly Carberry is playing every second game.
Well, part of the problem for Leinster now is that Ross Byrne is in the international squad going to Australia. Say if he's involved in this November or in the Six Nations, say he becomes second or third choice out half and he's carried in an Irish squad, then they need to really have a look at their depth chart in terms of the other 10 options. And I'm not sure if the other players they have at 10 are going to be good enough. So do they have to now go out and shop for a 10 that's going to be able to play games, at the period when guys are away with Ireland? Obviously, it's fantastic news for Munster, because Munster have just upgraded their weakest position.
CJ Stander, happy, I'd imagine?
Yeah, he was speaking earlier on as well. He says he's delighted with the signing.
I think the first time I really played with Joey and saw what he can do was against New Zealand in Chicago. Came onto the pitch, young guy, came into a game that was in the balance, and he was just calm and kept his head, and he kicked that last kick over as he's been playing his 50th test, and that's the way I know him. He's calm, he's collected, and he knows what he's doing. So that's something we can use to advantage, and it's great to have someone with that caliber coming into the squad. Some of the decisions and some of our choices didn't go our way at the end in the semi-finals. You know, one or two mistakes kept us away, especially against Leinster. I think we performed a lot better than we performed against Racing. So, but again, someone coming like that is going to push the charge, and he's already played in 2 finals and he won them. You know, so he's surely going to bring some experience as well. No, I think he's a type of player that doesn't matter what game plan he steps into, he will adapt, or just adapt, make it better. You know, I think you probably think we kick a lot, but we don't really. I think the other teams kick a bit more than us. But yeah, look, I think for me, with Johan coming in halfway through the season, he's going to get a pre-season now, and when Joey comes back, he's going to not really, I said learn our way, but he's going to get into our way, how we do it in Munster, and he's going to, as I said, push that on harder as a player, you know. So yeah, I think it'll be an easy fit.
Yeah, there's a whole host of questions that need to be answered about this, even from the Munster side, as to Johan van Graan has been planning for the last 6 months a certain style of play, where Joey Carberry will fit into that, and also what now happens with Tyler Blayendale, Ian Keatley, JJ Hanrahan. What's the trickle-down effect from this? Do one of those players now end up at Ulster?
Why not move Keatley to Connacht?
Back to his old stomping ground.
Oh yeah.
He'd be...
Why not?
I'd imagine Ulster right now are knocking down the RFU's door and saying we want that foreign out half. You can't secure us a 10 from inside the country, so we need a Champions Cup quality out half.
Speaking of Ulster, Rory Best not going to Australia?
He's not, no. He's picked up a hamstring injury just ahead of the tour, so he won't be going. Niall Scannell comes in, and Joe Schmidt said as well he hasn't made a decision yet on the captain for the tour. Peter O'Mahony, Johnny Sexton are the current vice captains, and the load could be shared between the two, you would imagine, over the tour.
There's a lot of big sport on this weekend, but none of us are more excited about anything else than the Republic of Ireland against the USA at 8:08 this coming Saturday night.
You got to laud Shamrock Rovers manager Stephen Bradley for kind of taking a very selfless view and saying, you know, we're missing. Let's be honest now, Shamrock Rovers have had a bad campaign. I think they're 19 or 20 points off Dundalk, which in terms of their probable budgets is shockingly bad. They've won 1 game away from home. I can only imagine Stephen Bradley is under some sort of pressure, yet in an apparent deference to the greater good, he said, I'm actually happy for Burke. He's not playing against the Dundalk on Friday, but he's involved for Ireland in a meaningless friendly against the USA.
Would they have been within their rights to get the Dundalk game called off?
I'm not sure about that, particularly in the...
You need 2 or 3 players, do you, called up?
Being honest, I'm not sure, but there's been such a fixture backlog as well. I'm not sure how that would have worked, but I thought Graham did very, very well in 20 minutes or so he came on against France. I know we're talking about very, very... we're not talking about a high bar here, because we're looking at a team with an absolute poverty of kind of quality, if not poverty of classy kind of football, and he looked pretty comfortable.
Is he at the level that Richie Towell was at, Darrell Horgan?
Better than Richie Towell.
Shawnee Maguire?
He's a more talented player. I think he's more talented than Darrell Horgan. Different player to Sean Maguire. Graham Burke, technically, and this is the point, Graham Burke is able to keep the ball under pressure. He's able to score goals from anywhere, left and right foot. He's a brilliant crosser of the ball. He's able to do things that will stand to you in international football, and I don't see how he's out of... The standard he's at is no worse than a sort of a bad championship team. So that's where we're at Ireland anyway.
What is the team news ahead of us?
Well, it looks like we've got some players coming back in. Jeff Hendrick is back after missing the game against France with a back injury the other night. We know John O'Shea is back in training with the squad as well, ahead of what will be his 118th and final cap on Saturday night. Harry Arthur, Derek Williams, both doubts for this weekend. They missed today's training session with groin and hamstring issues respectively. Graham Burke, the aforementioned player, was talking today as well. As mentioned by Johnny, he has been not released to play for Shamrock Rovers against Dundalk, while Bows goalkeeper Shane Stupple has been allowed to go tomorrow to Limerick with Bows, and then he'll rejoin the squad after that. Burke has said he's not been told as yet whether that means he's starting on Saturday.
I don't know why. I'm not going to play for Rovers. I kind of knew yesterday that I wasn't going to play in the game. I don't know if that's anything to do with Saturday. I don't know. Martin hasn't said anything to me. Just focusing on training and just enjoying being here with the team, and that's all I really know about it.
That image there for a League of Ireland fan is very, very nice viewing. You know, you've one of its greatest exponents who now plays one of the best fullbacks, or certainly was one of the best fullbacks in England in Seamus Coleman, wants to come back managing in the league potentially. And then you have our star asset Graham Burke at a press conference, just the two of them, and time to get mad serious is on the wall.
Technically, when he's on the ball, Burke is excellent. Has he shown enough off it that he can deliver over 90 minutes to deserve to be starting for Ireland?
He's absolutely no good off the ball. Does he need to be? I don't think he does. Why should a number 10 have to be very good off the ball? Unless we're so bad and we're so negative.
Because we can't carry anybody.
Well, does he need to do like an absolutely mindless amount of defensive work? He's a strange player when he's running without the ball. Somebody said to me, he's like a kind of a duck kind of movement. It's very, very ungainly. You know, he doesn't look like an athlete at all, and then he's just pure grace when he has it. I don't see why we have to have a number 10 who's good defensively.
He's in a great position. All he needs to do is have an outstanding game on Saturday, and he can maybe have, if he works it well, the next 3-4 years as the next Wes Hoolahan.
Yeah.
Why isn't he in the squad? Why isn't he starting? He's the guy that can make it all click.
We met at Tallaght earlier this season. Was it the Cork game? Yeah, was it the...
It was a terrible game.
That was the 0-0 against Dundalk, but O'Neill was there when he scored with his right foot. But, you know, he's done this in Europe. When he was at Villa, underage, he was a star. And I think he's had a complex enough background, Graham, you know, and I think he's come through that well, and he's just in a very good place. And I should mention this as well, coming back to Ireland for these players in terms of just their life and where they are in life, it can have a very positive effect just to come home. You know, if you were offered a job in England tomorrow with better money, but not usually better money, you'd be reluctant to take it. And I don't see why soccer players should be entirely.
You say that, Johnny.
You know, the money you're on, it's huge.
TalkSport are listening and they want to make an offer. I'm on the next flight.
Who knows?
Will, this is where you come to the fore. We need to be quick. Get as much as you can the next minute.
All right, Marcus Silva is the new Everton manager at last. He's joined on a 3-year contract at Goodison Park.
Great
6
point.
months after they just tried to get him from Watford. As Zinedine Zidane, you mentioned, quit Real Madrid today. He says a new voice is needed around the dressing room. It comes just days after winning the Champions League. No shocks at all in the tennis today. Both world number ones are through to the third round. Rafa Nadal and Simona Halep both winning in straight sets. Wins as well today for Garbi Muguruza, Marin Cilic and Juan Martín del Potro just before we came on air as well.
Every day this week we're teaming up with Expert Electrical to give you the chance to win a brand new LG 49-inch TV. Expert Electrical are Ireland's largest electrical retailer with 67 stores nationwide, all bringing you the latest appliances and tech products. You can pick up their new brochure from June 1st, tomorrow, with each including a free World Cup planner and opportunities to win some great prizes. To be with the chance of bagging your new 49-inch LG TV, simply identify tonight's mystery voice who was asked if he feels Team OTB can go one step further and win the Carling Cup at the Etihad next year.
They're a gillion miles away. A gillion miles away.
Bit harsh, I just missed one penalty.
They're a gillion miles away. A gillion miles away.
Text expert followed by your name and answer to 53106. John in Dublin is surprised and disappointed that Joey Carberry has decided to step down a level and leave Leinster to join Munster. Hope to see him in blue in the future.
What's rugby rivalry like? Will they be spitting into their pints in Kylie's and Donnybrook now, or?
Oof. Enough of this rugby fan bashing, Johnny. You're going to be back with us after 8. We're talking hurling with Tommy Walsh. On the football show, we've got Graham Hunter. We're also going to be talking about the situation at Chelsea, who've decided not to build their new stadium. But up next, it is John Giles.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
In association with Air. Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
A recent survey of 15 countries showed Ireland was the second most sleep-deprived country, second only to the UK. Apparently one of the top reasons we're not getting the amount of sleep that we require is due to snoring. Joining us on the line now is sleep expert Lucy Wolfe. Lucy, that's a pretty worrying finding that we're faring so badly when it comes to sleep.
Hear the full News Talk Breakfast podcast at newstalk.com and